We first go into the base of the Sphinx. Here we find some ruins with hieroglyph. Students are allowed to attempt to make sense of these hieroglyphic emblems. Students then measure the size of a block unit, so that way they can calculate each side of the pyramid and the height. Once we have that, we can find volume quickly, geometrically. We find more ruins to try to discuss and translate in an attempt to make sense of this ancient culture's history. We find statues of warrior Anubis that are very awe-inspiring. We next cross the Nile to go to a palace. Inside the palace, we find a secret altar, and we can discuss world religions and our views. Engineering students can examine this bridge that crosses a waterway, where we can find how much flow there is in the water and how much weight the bridge will support. Next we go to a site of some ruins to examine a culture on a different continent. Here we find a different flora that we can examine and take notes on for further discussion. We notice that the ruins had a set pattern, and we can imagine how it might have looked centuries ago. We then begin a trip to another country that has a winery. Here you can see the vineyards. Inside, we will find the process of how they make wine. This is where they mash the grapes, so that they can add things to make it into wine. Once the wine is finished, they must package it into these barrels. Students are then transported into a museum custom created. The first floor is an art museum, and the second floor is a science museum. So we begin to explore exhibits within each museum. Students must interact with every exhibit and describe what they found in results. Upstairs, students are allowed to see a skeleton and study anatomy. Then they can tour a prototype time machine. Next, they can tamper with some chemistry and try to mix up experiments. It seems our sim may have wanted to experiment with some virtual or augmented reality. Once it is done, each student can present their findings in the art museum, where they will find a whiteboard and a podium to be able to present their experience and their findings during the virtual world field trips.